Today we're looking at the new reformulated foundation by Cle De Peau, the foundation, which happens to be an anti-aging product as well. This is the most expensive foundation by Cle De Peau. It's not the most expensive foundation in the world, but it is definitely in the expensive, kind of pricey range. First, we're going to apply it, so I want to show you how it applies, and then after that, I'll give you my thoughts on this foundation. Hi, I'm Desi Stark and welcome to my channel where we talk about luxury skincare, beauty, and lifestyle products. First, very quickly, let's look at the product. This foundation looks exactly the same as the old one. I don't have the old one anymore. I have to tell you that I never really liked the old version. The old version was very light coverage but very kind of heavy hydration. I have normal to dry skin, and that foundation was just too heavy, mask-like, too glowy, just too much on the skin, and I never really enjoyed it. I never really justified the price. This packaging looks absolutely exactly the same as the old one with one little difference. This is SPF 22, the old one was SPF 21. The ingredients are also somewhat different. This claims to be a firming and smoothing foundation because, once again, it does have some anti-aging ingredients in it. There is a clinical study posted online that kind of takes you through the study and the results of 30 women using this foundation for 4 weeks, and all of them showed, over the course of 4 weeks, showed significant improvement in firmness and smoothness of their skin. Now, I have been using this foundation for a little bit over a week, so I cannot attest to that claim. But what I can tell you is that while you're applying this, it is a very pleasant experience because this is a cream, pretty much. It behaves exactly as if it's a normal moisturizing cream that you apply in the morning or at night. It has a very subtle, barely there scent, a very pleasant one, kind of smells like Cle De Peau if you've ever used any of the Cle De Peau skincare products. Obviously it's infused with that, so the user experience is definitely there. It comes with the little spatula that you scoop the product, which I always recommend. And now let's apply the foundation so you can actually see how it looks on my skin. This is the Instant Perfect primer by Sisley. Nowadays, this is actually my favorite primer. This primer is impeccable. So if you want a wrinkle eraser, this is the primer that you go to. You can also combine it with the Instant Eclat, which is also by Sisley. This is the glowy version. It does not give you a lot of glow. If you want complete smoothness, if you have enlarged pores, if you have wrinkles, obviously I do, you use a very, I mean, look how small of an amount I'm actually applying, and you just kind of rub it in your fingers and you apply it everywhere that you have wrinkles. It does prolong your makeup wear time, but also this is actually, I call it the wrinkle eraser. This is absolutely astonishing. These are actually my two favorite primers right now. I will use a little bit of the foundation. I'll put it on the back of my hand. I do recommend using your fingers. It's actually very quickly. It's the quicker way of doing it, but also it's kind of smoothing and it gives you a little bit more coverage if you use your fingers. Take a little bit of product just directly with my fingers, and I'll apply it on this side, a little bit here. Just spread it. As you can see, it's glowy and it applies exactly like a cream. It's very comfortable on the skin. It has a little bit of scent, very subtle, very pleasant. Ideally, I'll be using both of my hands, so it's a little faster. But since I'm holding the mirror, this is gonna go a little slower, but you get the idea. This is a very quick application with just your fingers. Again, this is my preferred method. I don't really like very glowy foundations, but when you kind of set it with your powder, obviously the glow diminishes a little bit, but this is how it looks with just one sheer layer with my fingers. And you can layer it a little bit if you want, if you need a little bit more coverage. It's said to be buildable, but I don't know how much. I mean, this is still getting you a fairly light coverage, if you ask me. I don't think that you can go above this. This is still a very light coverage. I mean, it covers everything. It diminishes, a little bit of redness and etc. But this is the max coverage that you can get, which is, probably for me it's okay. And then again, once I use a little bit of concealer, a little bit of powder, obviously it becomes enough. But this is a light coverage foundation. Now on the other side, I'll show you how it behaves when I use a brush. This is a Tom Ford 02 foundation brush. With the brush, you're getting half the coverage, pretty much. And I'll bring it down my neck. This is 030 Ochre, which is my shade in all Cle De Peau foundations. They nailed the shade, obviously. There's no difference to the other foundations. It's the right shade for me. And voila. So this side we applied it with fingers, this side we applied it with the brush. As you can see, this side has a little bit more coverage, and then again we went for a second layer. So let me try to build it so you can see with the brush. You can, but I can obviously see, the brush strokes, and you can go over with a sponge after that, but that will absorb even more of the foundation. I think it looks beautiful, actually, although it's a little bit less coverage than I like my foundations to be. I think it's still beautiful. Once again, when we put a little bit of concealer and powder and everything else, I think you'll get enough coverage. But I think it's very, very comfortable on the skin. I don't feel it at all. Again, this behaves as a cream or a moisturizer. It is actually a very thin consistency, as you can see. It gives you a glow, a healthy glow, not an obnoxious glow. I will commence with application of the remaining of the products like concealer and etc. and then I'll come back to give you my thoughts. So let me quickly tell you what I have on top of the foundation. Usually if I'm using a foundation that has very little coverage, I can afford to use a concealer that has a little bit more coverage. And in this case, actually, I used the Cle De Peau stick concealer. I set all of the makeup with the Sisley loose powder in Rose Orient. And then I used the Tom Ford bronzer in Terra. Tom Ford blush. This one is in Peach Poison. For my brows, I used the Tom Ford Fiber Brow Gel in Chestnut. For my eyes, I used, of course, the new Tweed by Chanel. And something new by Tom Ford, the new shade in the Illuminate palettes. I got all three of them, but today I used 10 Light. This is how it looks. So now I want to give you my thoughts on this $270 foundation. This is again the reformulated version, and I see actually quite a big difference from the previous version. The previous version I did not like. The previous version was also light coverage, but it was extremely hydrating and very, very glowy. And also when I would put it on my skin, it felt a little bit more like a mask. This is also hydrating. When I was applying it, you obviously saw that it's kind of glowy, but it's not as shiny and wet looking like the previous version. So this is definitely an improvement over the old one. Now in this price range, you also have 4 other foundations, which actually kind of happen to be my favorite foundations. Out of all the foundations that I have, they're all anti-aging. And I'm talking about the 2 by La Prairie, the one with the concealer on top, and then you have the cushion by La Prairie. And then you have 2 foundations by Valmont. One of them is the matte coverage. The other Valmont foundation is for more of a dry skin. Now, the matte coverage foundation by Valmont, I think I have kind of said this before, is probably my favorite foundation. It's also the most expensive out of all of these, but they're all in the same price range. I will make a video comparing all these foundations and tell you which one I think that is best and why. So this is actually the fifth most expensive foundation in the world when you think about it. Actually, it's a little bit more expensive than one of the La Prairie and one of the Valmont foundations. So this is the third most expensive foundation. If you like light coverage foundations that are undetectable on the skin and you want to have the anti-aging benefits, yes, this is a very nice foundation. I have to mention that I have worn this foundation already a bunch of times, and the most that I can get out of this foundation without touching my face is about, I would have to say, 6 hours. It doesn't fall apart or anything. It just, for some reason, it just breaks apart a little bit here, which usually doesn't happen for me with any foundations that I like, or any foundations in this price range, because again, this is an expensive product. But at the end of the day, this is a beautiful product. It's supremely easy to use because you can apply it as if you're applying a moisturizer, and then you can set it a little bit and conceal a little bit, and you're out the door. So it's a very easy product to use. It's probably easiest out of all the 5 foundations in that price range. And I personally do prefer skincare ingredients or anti-aging ingredients in pretty much everything that I put on my face, especially on my foundation, because it's sitting so close to my skin. In my next video, I will pull all 5 foundations in this price range, the 2 from Valmont, the 2 from La Prairie, and this one, and I will give you a ranking and pretty much my thoughts on which foundation is better for which skin, which foundation is overall the best, and etc. But for now, I do have to express my opinion. This is a good product. And these are my thoughts for today's video on the new reformulated Cle De Peau Foundation. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, please give it a thumbs up, and I will see you soon. Thank you so much for watching. Bye.